My wife was in a car accident while walking the dog with a big belly. The ambulance arrived quickly. They rushed to lift my wife onto the stretcher. But I immediately stopped them. You've got it wrong. I called the ambulance for the dog, the medical staff present, and the onlookers were all stunned. My wife on the ground cried and asked, in your eyes, are the lives of me and the child not as important as the dog's? I said without hesitation, that's right. Sir, you're joking. Although we are a private ambulance service, we prioritize saving people. The medical staff stood there and politely emphasized to me, looking at the dog on the ground, suffering and helpless. I got anxious. A human life is a life. Isn't a dog's life a life too? Dudu is a dog I've raised for 8 years. He's like family to me. If you don't save him today, I'll make you pay. The onlookers saw me like this and couldn't help but whisper, what kind of scumbag is this? His own wife is in a car accident. Her water broke and he doesn't even look at her, only caring about the dog. I also have a dog, but no matter how much I love my dog, I wouldn't ignore my own wife and child. Is there something wrong with his brain? His wife is so unlucky to marry such a person. I ignored the accusations from everyone and carefully carried the dog onto the stretcher. Don't just stand there, I called you. And I've already paid. Hurry up and send my Dudu to the pet hospital. The medical staff hesitated and looked at my wife sitting on the ground. Seeing that my wife's face was pale and amniotic fluid was still flowing out, they opened their mouths to try and persuade me again. But my wife covered her belly and weakly said, you guys save Dudu first. I can call another ambulance myself. If something really happens to Dudu, my husband will be very sad. Saying this, my wife looked at me with love, her eyes filled with suppressed sadness. The people at the scene saw that my wife was still thinking of me and couldn't help but give her admiring and sympathetic looks. I ignored everyone and urged the medical staff again. Didn't you hear? My wife agreed. Drive quickly. It'll be dangerous for Dudu if you're too late. Finally, the ambulance carried me and Dudu and quickly headed to the pet hospital. While Dudu was being treated at the pet hospital, my mom called. He called. Ayuyan went into premature labor and had a son, but the baby's condition is very bad now. Come quickly. My mom's tone was mechanical, but I was absent-minded. Mom, Dudu, I'm still in treatment. His condition is still unstable. I can't leave. He called. My mom was instantly furious and yelled at me. He called. This is your own son. Do you know that Ayuyan's water broke and her condition was dangerous? The doctor said that if she had arrived a minute later, both she and the baby would have died. If it weren't for Ayuyan speaking up for you, telling me not to blame you, I would really want to beat you to death. You bastard. My mom has always been gentle and loving. This was the first time she had ever been so angry with me, but I didn't have time to care. I stared intently at Dudu, who was undergoing surgery. When the vet came out of the operating room, I immediately said to the phone, Mom, I have to go. Dudu's surgery is done. I need to take care of him. After hanging up the phone, I ran to the doctor, nervously asking, Doctor, how is he? Is Dudu okay? Saying that, my voice was trembling with worry. The doctor said to me, don't worry. The dog was rescued in time and is out of danger, but he needs to stay in the hospital for observation for 24 hours. Hearing this, I breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that he's okay. Just as I finished speaking, my dad called. He Joel, your child is now in critical condition. How can you, as a father, not be here? Come here immediately. This situation was unbearable for me. My dad's voice was deafening, his tone carrying an undeniable authority. However, I still retorted without thinking. Dudu needs me? I can't leave. Hearing this, my dad got even angrier. Dudu, can he be more important than the lives of your wife and child? I said, Dad, everything is over. Dudu still needs me to take care of him. That's it. After saying that, I hung up the phone and turned it off. Staying by Dudu's side without leaving. Time passed slowly, and Dudu gradually woke up. Seeing him open his watery eyes and wag his tail at me, my worried heart finally settled. The next day, just as I walked out of the pet hospital, a group of people rushed towards me. Look, everyone, this is the scumbag who's been trending online for saving his dog instead of his wife. Scumbag. His wife was in a car accident while pregnant, and her condition was so dangerous. He insisted on taking the ambulance to save his dog. His wife was seriously injured in the car accident, and the child is in critical condition due to premature birth. Both of them are in critical condition in the hospital, but he doesn't care, and spent the whole night at the pet hospital with a dog. I hope everyone remembers his face. If you see him in the future, Beat him up if you can, or curse him if you can't. These people were holding their phones, live streaming and recording videos of me. Each one of them seemed to hate me to the core. The comments in the live stream were frantically denouncing me, saying I didn't deserve to be human. Seeing them like this, I realized that my actions yesterday had been recorded by passers-by and posted online, uploaded online. The video caused an uproar once it was released. These internet celebrities and anchors came specifically to attack me. One internet celebrity walked up to me and shouted, "Yesterday, a conversation between you and your wife in the video caused a lot of discussion. Everyone thinks it might have been selectively edited. Now, can you say something honest in front of all of us? Do you really think that the dog is more important than the lives of your wife and child?" Facing countless cameras, I didn't hesitate for a second and affirmed again, yes. My answer once again sparked outrage. I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. I can't believe someone actually thinks their wife and child are less important than a dog. If you love dogs so much, just live with your dog for the rest of your life. Why get married and hurt others? Exactly. Why wasn't it you scumbag, who got into the car accident? People like you should be the ones who get hit and die. The words of the anchors instantly stirred up the emotions of everyone present. They were all furious, cursing loudly, as if they wanted to tear me apart on the spot, just as I was being drowned in a sea of curses. My parents pushed Liu Yuyan, who was in a wheelchair, to the scene. At this moment, Liu Yuyan's face was pale, her body limp in the wheelchair, and she was extremely weak. As soon as my parents pushed her in front of me, she immediately asked anxiously, "Husband, are you okay?" She didn't even have the strength to speak. Liu Yuyan's voice was very soft, but even so, she still didn't forget to care about me. Looking at her loving eyes, I didn't speak. Seeing this, my dad couldn't help but say to me sternly, "Hijol, your mom and I thought about it all night, and we couldn't figure out why you suddenly treated Yuyan like this. We guessed that you might have some misunderstanding about Yuyan and the child, so we rushed to do a paternity test. The child Yuyan gave birth to is indeed your biological child. You're really too much. How can you, for a dog?" Saying, my dad presented the paternity test report in front of me. But I didn't even glance at it. I just said "oh" softly and didn't speak again. My mom frowned slightly and said to me sternly, "Yuyan saw the live stream of you being cyber-bullied online and worried about you. She rushed here immediately, disregarding her own safety. The doctor couldn't even stop her. She's always thinking of you. You can't hurt her like this. Listen, hurry up and apologize to her properly. Admit your mistake." I looked at the dog in my arms and said righteously, "I just wanted to save Dudu. What's wrong with that?" As soon as I finished speaking, my dad slapped me hard across the face. "You bastard. To save a dog, you left your pregnant wife who was in a car accident, alone on the road, ignoring her, to accompany a dog. You are indifferent to your premature son. Do you know that he's still in the incubator? His life hanging in the balance. Have you ever asked about him, cared about him? And you still have the nerve to say you did nothing wrong." My dad was hoarse, his eyes filled with rage. The slap he gave me was with full force. My face quickly became red and swollen. "Hijong." Liu Yuyan looked at me with concern, and then said to my dad nervously, "Dad, don't be angry. Talk nicely. Don't hit Kong. He was just anxious to save the dog. But I believe he still loves me and the child in his heart." As soon as she finished speaking, the hospital called Liu Yuyan's phone. As soon as she answered, the attending doctor on the other end said urgently, "Ms. Liu, your child urgently needs a blood transfusion. He has the rare panda blood type Rh negative. The hospital can't find a suitable blood type for him right now. See if you and the child's father's blood types match. Come to the hospital immediately for a blood transfusion. Otherwise, the child will be in danger." Hearing this, Liu Yuyan was instantly anxious. She said nervously, "Kong, you have panda blood. Quick, go to the hospital and save our son." "I'm not going. I need to take care of Dudu." Hearing me say this, Liu Yuyan widened her eyes and looked at me in disbelief. My mom was so angry that she roared at me, "Are you crazy? That's your own son. You didn't care when Yuyan was in a car accident, and now your son is in critical condition, and you still refuse to help." Looking at my mom's shocked eyes, I said calmly, "The doctor said Dudu is very weak now and needs to be taken care of. I need to go back and cook him some nutritious food. Besides, I'm anemic. What if something goes wrong from giving blood?" "What about Dudu?" Hearing this, Liu Yuyan lowered her eyes, struggled to get off the wheelchair, knelt in front of me, and choked, "Kong, we've been together for so many years. I've never asked you for anything. I don't care how you treat me. But our child is innocent. I beg you, please go and save him. He's just been born. He hasn't even had a chance to see this world." Liu Yuyan was full of pleading. Her eyes filled with tears, her tone humble and pitiful. But I remained unmoved. You guys go save him. I have to take care of dog. I have no time to go to the hospital. He called. My dad shouted sternly, you, for a dog. You're ignoring the life and death of your own child. Your family, you've disappointed me so much. From today on, we are severing our relationship. I don't have a cold-blooded and ruthless son like you. The crowd was also furious, cursing and swearing at me with the most vicious words. Just as I was submerged in endless abuse, a cold voice suddenly rang out. None of you have the right to criticize him. Looking at the person who came, I smiled. The real show was finally about to begin.